Viewers, imagine this: you've had big Iraqi dinar notes tucked away for years. Maybe they've been sitting in your drawer, a safe, or even hidden in an envelope. You've looked at them hundreds of times, checked the exchange rate again and again, and always, will these ever be worth more than just paper? Well, in 2025, the whispers have turned into something much bigger. The talk now is not only about a possible revaluation, but about something brand new: cards. Yes, cards that could link those 3-0 notes directly to the international financial system. This could be the biggest change Iraqi dinar holders have seen in decades, and the timing has everyone talking. Could we finally be moving from dusty paper in a drawer to digital power in your hands? Stay tuned, because today we're breaking down exactly what's happening and why 2025 might be the year your dinar comes alive. For years, those holding the large 20,000 and 50,000 Iraqi dinar notes have been waiting for one thing: a revaluation. The idea was simple: one day, Iraq would reprice its currency on the global stage, and those holding the notes would see an instant jump in value. But that day never seemed to come. The exchange rate stayed stubborn, and hope turned into a long wait. Some people gave up, while others held on tightly, believing the payoff was still ahead. In 2025, however, a new twist has arrived. Instead of waiting for a big bang change, there are growing reports about a new method for using those notes internationally: through debit or prepaid cards. Imagine walking into a bank, handing over your 3-0 notes, and walking out with a card you can use online, abroad, or for cross-border transfers. This isn't just a rumor in dark corners of the internet anymore. People are reporting actual discussions and potential rollouts. The idea sounds simple on the surface, but its impact could be huge. Most people are used to thinking of currency as physical bills or coins you exchange at a counter. But by linking the value of dinar notes to a card, especially one tied to a major global payment network like Visa or MasterCard, Iraq would suddenly be able to place its currency into international circulation without a direct revaluation. That means people holding dinar wouldn't have to wait for a new exchange rate to see real-world usefulness. You could book a flight online, pay for a hotel abroad, or even send money to family in another country using a dinar-backed card. This is the kind of move that signals serious modernization inside Iraq's banking sector. And for many investors, it's a sign the country is testing the waters before making bigger changes to its currency value. Why is this such a big deal in 2025? Over the past few years, Iraq has been upgrading its financial infrastructure. From new banking technology to partnerships with international payment systems, the country has been positioning itself for global economic integration. We've seen announcements about digital banking, financial inclusion, and cross-border transaction capabilities. But until now, these developments felt distant for the average dinar holder. Cards tied directly to 3-0 notes change that. It brings those upgrades from the government level down to the everyday person. For someone who's been holding on to dinar since the early 2000s, this feels like the first tangible step toward international usability. It's not a rate change, at least not yet, but it's proof the currency is beginning to step onto the world stage in a functional way. Some observer of this move could serve as a bridge toward a future revaluation. By allowing people to spend dinar internationally through cards, Iraq could
be testing how its currency performs in real-world transactions outside its borders. If successful, the next step could be adjusting the exchange rate once the systems are fully running. This two-step approach makes sense from a policy perspective. Instead of shocking the market with a sudden revaluation, Iraq could first normalize international usage, then strengthen the currency. That way, when the exchange rate does change, the infrastructure is already in place. The cards work, the transactions flow, and global systems recognize the dinar. For many dinar holders, this shift from paper to plastic feels almost unreal. Some people have literally had these notes for over a decade, tucked away with the belief that one day they would become incredibly valuable. They've heard every rumor, read every forum post, and debated endlessly about when the change would come. But nothing compares to the idea of finally being able to swipe or tap and see those dinars work internationally. Think about the emotional change. For years, your notes were like lottery tickets that hadn't been drawn yet. Now, with a card, they transform into a usable tool. That means no more complicated workarounds for online purchases, no more dead-end conversations at foreign exchange counters, and no more feeling like your investment is stuck inside Iraq's borders. Even if the exchange rate stays the same for now, the usability alone could make these notes far more valuable to holders who have been waiting patiently. Skeptics, of course, are quick to raise concerns. They argue that unless the dinar's value changes, having a card won't magically make the currency worth more. They point out that a card loaded with dinars still converts at the current exchange rate when used internationally, so the big payout investors dream about wouldn't happen overnight, but supporters counter with a bigger vision that this is not about immediate profit, but about creating the pathway for change. History shows that currencies rarely leap into global strength without building the right systems first. This card program could be the exact foundation Iraq needs before making a dramatic move. It's not a guarantee, but it's a signal. And in the world of currency speculation, signals matter. For many, it's the first time in years they've seen concrete action that hints at future transformation rather than endless waiting. What makes 2025 particularly interesting is the global financial climate. Digital banking has become the norm, cross-border payments are faster than ever, and countries are competing to modernize their currency systems. Iraq is not operating in isolation. It's part of a larger trend where nations are blending physical cash with digital solutions. By introducing cards to 3-0 notes, Iraq is essentially skipping years of slow transition and jumping straight into a model that combines old value storage with modern spending power. For foreign holders, this could mean finally becoming active participants instead of passive watchers. For Iraq, it means getting its currency into international circulation without making an immediate high-stakes change to the exchange rate. This is why analysts are watching closely. It's a move that carries both low risk and high potential. The speculation around this shift is intense. Some believe the IMF might have a quiet hand in guiding Iraq's modernization. Others think the Central Bank of Iraq is working independently, but with global best practices in mind. The truth is, these kinds of moves rarely happen overnight. Behind the scenes, there would have been months, maybe years, of technical preparation, regulatory discussions, and partnership negotiations with payment networks. If cards tied to dinar notes are indeed launching, it's safe to say the groundwork has already been laid. That means other steps, like improved exchange rate mechanisms or a managed float, could already be in quiet testing phases. This is what excites the investor community. Even without an official announcement of revaluation, they see these cards as a sign that the gears of change are finally turning. Let's consider the everyday impact. Imagine a family in the United States who inherited dinar from a relative who served in Iraq years ago. Those notes have been sitting in a safe, waiting for a day that might never come. Now they could walk into a redemption center, exchange the notes for a card, and immediately use that value to book travel, shop online, or even pay bills. They're no longer holding something locked in a vault. They're holding digital, spendable currency. In another scenario, a business owner in Europe holding dinar could use the card to pay a supplier in another country without converting to euros first. These are real-world applications that until now felt impossible. For holders, this transforms the dinar from a speculative asset into a functional one, even if the big revaluation is still somewhere on the horizon. Of course, the biggest question remains, is this the prelude to the revaluation everyone has been waiting for? Some say yes. They believe Iraq is simply testing the waters to make sure the systems work internationally before pulling the trigger on a new rate. Others are more cautious, arguing that the card program could exist for years before any change in exchange value. The reality is, no one outside the decision makers truly knows the timeline, but the timing of this rollout is suspiciously aligned with other moves Iraq has been making, strengthening its banking technology, boosting foreign reserves, and increasing trade relationships. Whether by design or coincidence, it all points toward a country preparing for a more active role in the global economy. Inside online investor communities, the mood is electric. Social media groups, YouTube channels, and live streams are buzzing with theories. Some claim to have inside knowledge of banks, quietly testing the systems. Others are sharing charts and timelines that connect historical events to today's developments. The common thread, anticipation. Every small update is dissected for hidden meaning. Even a rumor of a pilot program in one region of Iraq sends conversations into overdrive, and while not every rumor proves true, the volume of chatter itself shows how hungry the community is for movement. For many, these cards represent more than just convenience. They represent hope after years of frustration. One detail that keeps coming up is the possibility of a float. In currency terms, a float means allowing the exchange rate to be set by market forces rather than a fixed government rate. If Iraq introduced a float alongside these cards, we could see gradual increases in the dinar's value over time. It wouldn't be an overnight jump, but even small daily gains could add up quickly. A few cents here, a few cents there, and suddenly balances start looking very different. This gradual approach might be more sustainable than a shock revaluation, given the market time to adjust and preventing economic instability inside Iraq. It's a theory that fits well with the idea of cards being the soft launch before bigger changes. For now, we have to balance excitement with reality. It's important to remember that a card program by itself doesn't guarantee a stronger dinar. It does, however, make the currency more functional and accessible. And that's a critical step toward broader recognition. Think about it this way: a currency that can't be used outside its home country is limited by default. But the moment it's accepted internationally, even through a conversion process, it gains visibility and legitimacy can be a powerful driver for future valuation. So while we can't say with certainty that revaluation is next, we can say that Iraq is making moves that align with the long-term vision many investors have been waiting for. The emotional impact of this shift cannot be overstated. For years, families have sat around kitchen tables talking about what-if scenarios. Children have grown up hearing their parents talk about these notes. Friends have debated whether it's a scam or the smartest investment ever made. Through all of that, the notes themselves have been silent, paper with potential but no action. Now the very idea of a card changes the energy. Suddenly, there's movement. Suddenly, there's proof that something is happening. Even without a rate change, people can start experiencing the reality of their investment in practical ways. That's a game changer for morale. From a broader economic perspective, this could also be Iraq's way of easing into international trade without taking on excessive risk. By allowing the dinar to function digitally through cards, the government can monitor transactions, track currency flows, and gather data on usage patterns. This information could be invaluable when planning a revaluation or other economic reforms. It's like running a live experiment, seeing how the dinar interacts with global systems in real time, but with controlled conditions. If any issues arise, they can be addressed before bigger steps are taken. This cautious but forward-moving approach could be exactly what Iraq needs to stabilize and grow its currency. For the average holder, though, the focus is less on economic theory and more on personal opportunity. If you've been waiting for years with no way to access the value of your notes, this is your moment to finally do something with them. Whether it's making an online purchase you've been putting off, helping a family member abroad, or simply knowing your investment is active instead of sitting idle, the psychological boost is massive. It turns the dinar from a conversation piece into a working asset, and once people start using it, the momentum could build. Usage breeds familiarity, and familiarity breeds confidence. Looking ahead, the big unknown is timing. If this card program rolls out successfully in 2025, will we see an exchange rate change within months, Or will it take years? No one can say for certain. But the fact that we're even discussing functional, internationally linked dinar cards tells us the situation has shifted dramatically from just a few years ago. Back then, the idea of the dinar being usable outside Iraq seemed far-fetched. Today, it's becoming a reality, and that alone is enough to make even cautious investors sit up and take notice. So here we are in 2025, watching a currency once locked inside its own borders begin to step out into the world. From drawer to digital, from speculation to real-world functionality, the 3-0 Iraqi dinar notes are taking on a new life. Whether this is the first step toward a long-awaited revaluation or simply a modernization effort, one thing is certain: change is happening. The infrastructure is being built, the systems are coming online, and the conversations are no longer just about some a day. For holders across the globe, this could be the start of something they've been dreaming about for years. And as always in the dinar community, the question remains, what's next?